Hi, my name is Amanda McGeehan and I am your son or daughter's AP Biology teacher. Welcome to Virtual Back to School Night. I'm going to spend the next several moments talking about AP Biology in terms of the content that we'll cover this school year, the tools and materials that we'll use to cover the content, and then just some general student expectations under the hybrid learning schedule. For starters, here's my contact information for you. My email is listed at the top because this is the best way to get in touch with me should you need to get in touch with me, followed by my voicemail number, which truthfully is not the best way to get in touch with me. You'll get a much quicker response if you send me an email. This is my 9th year of teaching. Most of my years have been spent at Clearview. This is my 6th year of teaching AP Biology at Clearview. This is my teacher website. My teacher website can be reached or found through the Clearview website. So you would start by going to the high school website, clicking on the staff directory and entering in my name. It looks like this. There's general information on there about each of the courses I teach, syllabus, things of that nature, different resources for the students, and you're also welcome to access it at any point as well. If you'd like to sign up for Remind 101 for AP Biology and get the same reminders that your student gets, please feel free to enter in the phone number that's listed at the top of the phone image on the screen. And then depending on which period your child is in, you can enter in that message that goes with their class period. You would receive reminders about assessments, assignments. You would be in the loop on everything they're in the loop on, and they won't even know that you signed up. It could be a secret if you wanted to do that, but not required, of course, only if you'd like to. Now I have the curriculum for the school year in AP Biology. So College Board has grouped all of the content for AP Biology into 8 units. We will do our best to cover the material in these 8 units. This comes right from the College Board website, right from their organized curriculum. In addition to the biology concepts that your students are expected to learn this year, they're also expected to demonstrate science skills or science practices. So these are things like graphing, statistical analysis, different things like that. You can see them listed on the screen here. So we're going to be working on these skills throughout the school year so that your student is able to demonstrate them on the AP exam. Our book is on the left-hand side of the screen. Each student has received now a physical copy of the textbook, and they've also received a copy of the paper that you have in the middle of the screen, which is our tentative topic schedule. These are all the chapters of our textbook that align to the units from the College Board. So we have a lot of material to cover. Usually we cover about a chapter a week. Under this new schedule, there's some back-to-back days where I don't see your student, depending if their class period is meeting or not. So that whole chapter a week thing is kind of varying. And then just something I want to be really upfront and honest with all of you about is the loss of instructional time under the hybrid schedule. We will lose about 80 periods of instructional time this year up to the AP exam. That's just with the nature of the hybrid schedule. And then we have also lost lab periods under the hybrid schedule. So all this to say that I'm going to do my absolute best to cover as much material as possible, but I can assume that there's going to be gaps in the content that we cover this year. I will provide your students with resources and materials that they can access to fill in any gaps in material that we don't cover in class, and I will, of course, support them in preparing for that exam with anything that we don't have class time to cover. As long as they're willing to come to me, I would be more than happy to help them. And that's just something I wanted to be honest with you all about if your student is going to sign up for the AP exam. So speaking of the AP exam, if you decide to take any AP exams this year, they are $99. The registration deadline for the exam is November 12th. That was the same as last year, but it had changed last year. It used to be in March and now it is in November. Kind of a tough spot to be in, making that decision so soon in the school year, especially under the circumstances of this school year, but this is not a Clearview deadline. This is a College Board deadline. So if you wanted to sign up, it would be by November 12th and it would have to be paid in full. The counseling department has set up an AP Google Classroom. The code for that classroom is on the screen. You're welcome to join it or have your student join it, and you'll get updates about AP registration and just general College Board information. Again, that's run through the counseling department. And then I have a quick little blurb down there at the bottom that's a little cutoff about my scores in the past years. I just, again, want to be upfront and honest with everybody. In the past 5 years that I've had students taking the AP Biology exam, we always score above the national average, on average. Last year, 88% of my students scored a 3 or above on the exam, which makes them eligible to receive college credit for their score. It depends on the college that they go to. Some colleges won't take even a 5 on the AP exam, especially if they're majoring in AP Biology. or in biology, but I can speak from experience that I was a biology major who got a good score on the AP exam. I wasn't able to use it towards Bio 101, but my college counselor was able to apply the credits to a humanities course, so I was still able to use them. So if your student is deciding to take the AP exam this year, I can assure you that I will do my absolute best to make sure that they get a good score. I work them really hard, and we usually get good results. So College Board dictated this year that 25% of all instructional time for AP Biology should be spent in lab work. This is the same every school year, with the kind of exception for the fact that this year we can't really do traditional labs because of safety concerns, students sharing materials. You get the idea, right? So there are 12 required AP Biology labs that we must cover under the curriculum, and we will. We've come up with some creative ways to cover it. The school has purchased a subscription for Pivot Interactives. It's an online lab simulation program. It's really great. There's a picture in the bottom left-hand corner. It's real live look at labs and data collection. So the students will still get the same experience, and they'll still get the same takeaways and conclusions and data analysis skills, graphing, all the same things they would get from doing the labs. They just won't be physically doing the labs. We'll also use Gizmos this year. They're an online simulation. The school has a subscription to that as well. I'll be demonstrating some labs for the students. We're going to be very creative in how we cover all the lab material this year, but we will cover it. One of the tools that we use to cover the material in our textbook is a program called Mastering Biology. This program comes right with our textbook, and it's run through Pearson. Pearson runs the world, don't they? But there are great resources in the Mastering program. I want to just make you aware of this, that there are study areas. There's an online version of our textbook within the Mastering Biology program. Each week, I'll assign the students an assignment that goes with the chapter that we're learning about in Mastering Biology. This will usually be animations, questions, different things for them to interact with. And it's just another way to interact with the information that's in their textbook, aside from just reading it, which they will definitely be doing. So here's, again, a screenshot from Mastering. There's self-quizzes, there's practice tests for each chapter that the students could access. Again, just more resources and places for them to go for help. This is an example of what a mastering question would look like. So in this particular one, they're analyzing a graph, and then they have to answer a question. There are hints, and there are reviews and additional support and explanations. This is a great way for the students to get immediate feedback on something. If I'm not around to explain it to them, the mastering program is great at going over concepts and explaining things more thoroughly from the textbook. So some expectations for students this year, just under this hybrid schedule. Students in the classroom and students at home will participate in the same lessons. So whatever the students are doing in room 214, the students at home are doing the same thing. Students who come to school receive paper copies of assignments and class handouts. They'll either receive them the day that we're doing them, or they'll receive them the day in advance if they're a student who switches off coming to school and staying home. So this way they'll have access to those paper handouts while they are at home doing the lesson while I am at school teaching it. All students who are totally remote will always have access to electronic versions of all class handouts and notes. I post them each day on Google Classroom according to the lesson that we're doing that day. Both remote and in-person students are expected to participate in all lessons. Students can participate in lessons at home by being called on and typing their answers into the chat on Google Meet, or unmuting themselves and responding through Google Meet. This has worked really well. We've been doing it for the past several weeks. I'll call on a student, they'll unmute themselves, they'll belt out their answer, everybody in the room can hear them, and then likewise when I call on students in the room, the students at home are able to hear them as well. It's been a really great way to keep everybody engaged and keep everybody participating in our lessons. More on student engagement. There's a couple different things I've been trying this year and using, and I think somewhat successfully. The one is called Pear Deck. I've gotten a lot of good feedback from your students about Pear Deck. It's basically an interactive Google Slides where the students can answer questions, move images around, draw pictures, type responses. Everybody participates. I'm able to see everybody's responses. It's a great way to keep everybody involved, especially the students at home. So there's an example here on the screen where students were asked to draw the planet that comes after Jupiter. So they're able to use the drawing features in Pear Deck to draw a picture, and then I'm able to see everybody's responses. We used this recently in AP Biology. I asked all the students to graph their results from a water properties lab, And then I put everybody's graphs up on the screen after they drew them all out. We were able to compare and have a discussion about them. It's a really great tool to keep everybody involved. And then the other one on there is Google Jamboard. It's basically just a virtual whiteboard. We've used a couple of them this year and we'll use more. It's a great way, again, to keep everybody involved, whether they're at home or in school. There's an example of a Jamboard that we did earlier in the year. My question for the students is, what would success in AP Biology look like for you? And they were able to add sticky notes to the Jamboard. So again, just a way for everybody, whether they're in the school or at home, to participate and all work together. All right, so that's it. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. And if you need me or you need to get in touch with me, feel free to send me an email. Take care.